Coming from parts unknown, aka my dirty ass car that I don't have a good setup in. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. I have the AC blasting. I am good to go. This is the busy life that we have. And oh yeah, I'm just roasting alive in my car.
Yeah.
Rotisserie chicken.
Yeah. No, he's sitting in a metal oven right now because it's summertime. You know, it's July, middle of July. California went through a massive heat wave over the past week. Ironically enough, since NXT Heat Wave is tonight at the time of recording, but we're here to talk about Money in the Bank 2024 ZNT Wrestling Show number 165. The newly minted man in his 30s, Tomas, is here. I'm here as well, obviously. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's only fitting that this show is what we're discussing today, and seeing as how the surprise special guest we had on this show was there, this turned into a pretty polarizing show. Some people loved this show. Some people hated this show. A lot like our favorite C-Nation chain gang leader, whatever you want to call him. Everybody's got an opinion on it. And I'm of the opinion that this was a very good show. I think about on the same level as Money in the Bank last year. Maybe I prefer last year's show a little more than this, but this was still really solid. Triple H does not miss as head booker.
So what I have to say about it is there were some very bold booking decisions made on this show.
Yes,
but
there
it made
were.
the show very interesting. And, you know, I love the unpredictability that Triple H is bringing to every single PLE. I love tuning into these WWE PLEs and being like, I don't know what I'm going to expect. And I would rather have an exciting, controversial show than just, oh, this person won, this person won, this person won. It's on the air and you just feel like you watched a special episode of Monday Night Raw. I thought the show was tight. I thought for Money in the Bank, when you have two multi-person ladder matches headlining the show, the 5-match card works perfectly.
Yeah.
Could they have gone in some different directions? Absolutely. But I do appreciate the boldness and the risk that Triple H is taking with the booking decisions he made on the show. Again, well said. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody has them, and everyone's gonna. I have my opinions for this show, absolutely for sure.
Well, when you put it that way,
this was a great birthday present for myself, and I gotta say, as much as I love doing it, and it's just a good time that I have, when you gather a bunch of people to watch a pay-per-view, it is very difficult to have 100% attention on the show because you have 2 or 3 people trying to talk to you at the same time. And it's hard to focus when you just want to sit there and watch the show. It's kind of like, it's a double-edged sword. You love the company, you love the good times, but it's like, I remember a good chunk of the show, but I'm not going to remember it blow for blow. And that's why I have Zack here, because he's really good with the blow for blow stuff. And but this was still a very excellent match. And we kicked things off in a huge way.
Big way.
The men's
Money
in the Bank ladder match. I love when they kick off with the ladder matches. I will say right now, even though the main event had pretty high stakes, I would have loved to see the ladies go on fast, and that would have been really cool. But nonetheless, this is what we got. We have Drew McIntyre, the Sinister Scotsman, taking on Andrade, Carmelo Hayes, Chad Gable, Jey Uso, Yeet, and L.A. Knight. I will say right now,
that's your roll call.
The build to Money in the Bank was filled with triple threat matches, and I loved it because you got to see so many different matchups that you never thought you'd see before between Raw and SmackDown with the men and the women. So I thought this was an excellent way to like set up the ladder match. And we have a who's who of who's in WWE right now. Like McIntyre, huge storyline with CM Punk. Andrade just made his return to WWE. Carmelo Hayes, who is the hot workhorse on SmackDown right now.
The future of the company.
Gable, Chad Gable, who is probably going through one of the most interesting storylines in WWE right now.
Oh boy.
Uso, one of the most over baby faces in WWE, and LA Knight too, which, you know, if they were on the same brand, that would be a awesome rivalry to see.
Oh, I know you were so bothered by the Go Home SmackDown segment where you had Jey Uso and LA Knight facing off. I get it. I get that the brand split is not recognized in this specific instance just to have Jey Uso go up to LA Knight, but Jey Uso was in town. So, I mean, it's like a pay-per-view's the next night. So it didn't really bother me all that much. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Men's Money in the Bank ladder match. This is actually, for my money, I think this was a better lineup than last year. Mainly because you had like a slew of guys who had never been anywhere close to the main event at any point last year. This year, you kind of have a mix of both. LA Knight has gotten shots at the world title over the past year or so, as has main event Jey Uso, who was insanely over in Toronto, which is where the show takes place. Great wrestling city in Canada, up north, north of the border. Drew McIntyre, McIntyre, self-explanatory. Andrade's never held a world title in this company, though. Carmelo Hayes is a star on the rise. And then you have Chad Gable. You know, he just re-signed a brand spanking new deal. Never been in a ladder match before. He is being fucked around with the brand new Wyatt Six. And this is the first time we're kind of talking about the Wyatt Six on one of these new pay-per-view podcasts here. The new releases, rather. I don't know how deep I want to get into it right now because the Wyatt Six is so layered, and it's deeply emotional stuff. But
yeah, long story short, on an episode of Raw a couple of weeks ago, after Jey Uso qualified for the Money in the Bank ladder match, the lights went out. We got the massacre message the night before Clash at the Castle. There was this very spooky, oh my gosh, chills down my spine when the beginning to Bray Wyatt's theme song started playing, that little piano chord, and they make their way. The fog fills the stage. Sister Abigail makes her appearance, which is obviously Nikki Cross. She leads us to the backstage area to I'm ignoring that to the gorilla position, and you just see gorilla position absolutely destroyed. Equipment is thrown all over the place. There's sparks. You know, equipment is sparking. There's blood on the walls. There's dead security guards. You see a passed out Braun Strowman. You see a passed out Dominic Mysterio. People said they saw Gunta and Braun Breaker, but that would have made absolutely no sense. But what we do see is a dead Chad Gable.
Yep.
With a head wound, blood, and everything. But don't worry, he came back the next week, cleared. No, not bothered whatsoever.
I love wrestling fans so much because immediately after the Wyatt Six debut on that episode of Raw, so proud of Taylor Rotunda, by the way. Great performances all the way around in those like serial killer like videotape vignettes. I'm very insulted by Michael Cole saying, for all you kids out there, this is a VHS tape, guys. Yeah, this shows you how obscure they are. But Chad Gable's Wikipedia page was immediately updated with the details of his death at the hands of the Wyatt Six. They basically said that he was shot in the head, and he was laid up against. He had a really bad weekend, but you know he has more superhuman healing powers than John Cena. Because he came back the next week and he's like, I cannot be killed. Thank you. I'm like, oh boy.
Can you believe how layered Chad Gable has become like within the last month alone? Because on the following weeks going up to Raw, the whole roster is like paranoid now. You have Jey Uso, which very uncharacteristically, you know, he claimed the Fireflies, and the minute the Wyatt Six showed up, he went on record to say, I don't even want these damn Fireflies anymore. Give me the mosquitoes. The Wyatt Six can have them. So they're kind of like paranoid to who the next target the Wyatt Six is going to go after. And it led to a great segment on Raw. I feel like the Wyatt Six has been targeting Chad Gable because it's kind of like lore segments. Nikki Cross, or Sister Abigail, I should say, has been showing up every week and giving Michael Cole a VHS tape, which shows another like layer to the Bo Dallas and Uncle Howdy like interview segments. It's been really cool, and you've been wondering like if the Wyatt Six was going to make their presence known in this ladder match. Unfortunately, no. But I do think there's going to be a lot of opportunities heading into SummerSlam for the Wyatt Six to get involved. But this was a very good match. There was a lot of innovative spots. The MVP of the match for me was fucking Carmelo Hayes.
Really?
This dude is out of this fucking world.
He is.
A springboard leg drop guillotine on a ladder. Give me Carmelo Hayes and Andrade all fucking day long.
Dude.
These two were hitting insane spots in this match.
Those guys did a freaking double Spanish fly onto a ladder bridge, and I thought both guys, like, broke their collarbones. Like, Jesus Christ, that did not look safe. But it was just high-octane action from the start. Drew McIntyre nails Andrade with a Glasgow kiss, like, immediately as the bell rings. LA Knight and Jey Uso have their face-off, and they sort of form an alliance against Drew McIntyre for a little bit, kind of recognizing that Drew is the biggest and tallest and hunkiest threat in this match, surely. So they decide to kind of form a temporary alliance, take him out of the picture, and then they go back to fighting each other as a debate of who is the most over babyface in this match. I honestly don't know who had the edge. I really don't. It seemed about even.
You're going to ask me, I think it's Jey Uso just because he has a little more momentum, but I know you want to talk about it, so The moment of the night, the moment of the match had to have been the yeet and yeah off when they were hitting each other. The crowd was super into that. I get it. Both very over catchphrases. You could have made a case for almost every single person in this match to win the briefcase. You talk about McIntyre, who's in part of the best storyline in WWE. Jey Uso is extremely over. LA Knight is very over. Carmelo Hayes with that briefcase would have been awesome. He could have been the cocky rookie heel walking around just waving it in Cody Rhodes' face like, yeah, you want to be the workhorse of this company? I'm going to sneak up on you and get you when you're least expecting it.
I think that would have been great. But honestly, you said Carmelo Hayes was the MVP of this match. He did awesome. I don't think he was ready for Mr. Money in the Bank at this point because he was just drafted to the main roster. Next year, absolutely, put this briefcase with Carmelo Hayes because it feels like that is a gimmick made for Money in the Bank. Not this year, though. I don't think he was quite at that point yet. My MVP of this...
absolutely not. I 100% agree. I just thought Hayes' performance in this match was out of this world.
Yeah, no, he is, without a doubt, one of the pillars of the future of WWE. Point blank. My MVP of this match, believe it or not, was Chad Gable. This is a man who has never done a ladder match in his life. And this is, like, I'm sure he's been wanting to do one for years and years and years. And he was pulling off so much innovative technical wizardry. The crowd was giving him the Kurt Angle treatment, chanting "You suck" during his entrance, which I loved.
Chad Gable in a ladder match, you took the words right out of my mouth, is just like Kurt Angle in a ladder match. You didn't see it a lot, but when you did, it's like, why is this guy not doing this more? I want to see Gable in more environments like this because he just thrives so well. And like, see, Vince, what could you not see in this man? He is not only has he proved that he's one of the best tactical wrestlers in the company, he has proven that he is very layered in like his storytelling and the gimmicks he can do. He can play when you give him a layered babyface or a layered heel role. He has just been taking the ball and running with it because you could say he is the workhorse MVP of Monday Night Raw.
Workhouse.
Yeah, I'm so like I love Chad Gable so much. Just got my words tangled up.
It's okay.
He's involved in multiple segments every Monday night on Raw. He wrestles every week on Raw. He is heavily featured. Like again, it's only a matter of time.
He's the man.
He's got to find a way to strap the rocket to Chad Gable. He just signed him to a brand new deal. Do it before it's too late, Trips.
Yeah, Melo and Andrade did a Spanish fly springboard off into the ladder. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier, but Chad Gable, German suplexes for everybody. Jey Uso gets one. He deadlifts Drew McIntyre, which if you look at the stature of both men next to each other, not an easy thing for Chad Gable to do. Gets caught in the Carmelo Hayes gets caught in the air off a springboard and suplexed by Gable. Gable actually hits a rolling chaos theory on Carmelo Hayes, and he does a chaos theory with a ladder onto somebody. Like, he was doing so many amazing things in this. Has an ankle lock on Carmelo Hayes while he tries to climb the ladder. Yeah, Chad Gable was awesome.
Yeah, these were excellent spots in this match. I think somebody came very close to winning before we got the eventual winner. Was that Knight or Jay? I think it was Jay.
It was Jay. It was Jay. So
let me address the elephant in the room now. Okay, everybody, I get it. Jey Uso is extremely over. I think he's proven that time and time again. Yes, he was on the poster. Yeah, he's in the bank and all that stuff. I get that this.
Look at the thumbnail.
This felt like this was tailor-made for Jey Uso to win. But I just feel with the winner that we got, the storyline was just a lot more intriguing there. I do agree with a lot of people, like, since WrestleMania, he had that very disappointing match with Jimmy. A lot of the fans started to turn sour against him because, like, oh, Jay is all, he's all flash and no substance. He lost to Damian Priest. He lost King of the Ring. He's coming up short in Money in the Bank. And it's like, when is this guy going to get, like, his flowers? But I just have to agree with the other side. There was just such a more intriguing storyline with what we got with the actual winner. I'm sorry, like, Jay will get his opportunity in the sun. And I just feel like it's right around the corner.
The finish of this match was absolutely bonkers, though. Andrade with a sunset flip powerbomb off the top onto Melo into the ladder bridge. Like, very akin to what he did to Finn Balor in this same contest 5 years ago. Chad Gable with a huge belly-to-belly suplex on LA Knight into a ladder bridge on the outside, which eliminated LA from the competition. Jay hits his cousin's spear on Chad Gable. Jay is left all alone in the ring. And Drew McIntyre basically like spears Jay with a ladder while he's up there, nails him with the Claymore. Drew climbs up, and he is your Mr. Money in the Bank. He wins this ladder match. For the story, this makes sense, and we'll get into why that is in a bit.
Also,
but
again, I have to praise the production. That was an excellent camera shot.
Yes.
Jay climbing the ladder, about to get the briefcase, and then that ladder came out of nowhere and nailed Jay off of there. Just like take the wind out of everybody who wanted Jay to win this match. And to everybody who thinks Drew McIntyre is getting the short end of everything, I want to name his accolades now. He's a former Intercontinental champion. He's a former tag team champion. He's a two-time world champion. He's a former Royal Rumble winner. Now he's Mr. Money in the Bank. Last time I checked, that's a pretty impressive resume for a guy who's getting quote-unquote fucked out of everything.
Yep. I mean, those are the people who are saying that he's losing in England big title matches to both Roman Reigns and Damian Priest. And I see where those people are coming from.
He's not a former two-time world champion. He's a former three-time world champion.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, he won at WrestleMania for 5 minutes, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
You know, like
it counts. So
yeah, it does count.
Drew McIntyre is, again, one of the most layered and most interesting characters on the WWE roster right now. And, you know, to update everybody what happened since Clash of the Castle, since that very controversial finish with him and Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre made a little trip to the Blue Brand where CM Punk coincidentally was in Chicago to announce his health status. And there was this, again, the production value. DIY and Theory and Waller are having a segment backstage.
A-Town Down Under. That's their team name.
It's irrelevant. Congrats to DIY, by the way, for winning the WWE Tag Team titles.
Yeah. Here, thank fucking God they won titles. Yes, DIY, my favorite tag team.
A knock on the gate, and it's this roll-up gate, and they just slowly bring it up, and you just see Punk at McIntyre's feet. Not a single word was said. McIntyre lifts Punk up and just dumps him on the stage on SmackDown. And, you know,
a bloodied CM Punk.
Nick Aldis has to back him off, like literally shoves McIntyre out of the way. But McIntyre took a little souvenir with him. That's the little Taylor Swift friendship bracelet that a fan made Punk that said AJ and Larry, the most two important beings in CM Punk's life. And McIntyre went on Raw the following Monday and said, look at this cheap little bracelet. This probably costs 50 cents to make, but it's the most valuable thing to you in your life. And now I'm going to win the Money in the Bank and win the World Championship because I have your wife and your dog in my corner. God damn,
he was
good.
He was calling his
son of a bitch.
It should be noted that he was calling his shot. Like, he basically said if he wins this ladder match, he is going to cash in the same night and win the World Championship all in one fell swoop. More to come on that later. But this ladder match was a lot of fun. Great opening contest. I'm giving it 4 stars. I don't know if it's the greatest Money in the Bank ladder match of all time, but this one was definitely very exciting. I will say that there were a multitude of missed opportunities because I was looking at this lineup. This had the potential to be the most overbooked Money in the Bank ladder match of all time. And when I think of Money in the Bank, I think of chaos and I think of panic. And this one, you got the urgency there, but I wanted a little bit more chaos. I wanted Logan Paul to run down and fuck over LA Knight. I wanted some Wyatt Six chicanery with Chad Gable. At least one of those. Because, for all intents and purposes, Logan Paul versus LA Knight is confirmed for SummerSlam. I want Uncle Howdy versus Chad Gable at SummerSlam so badly. I can taste it. But we just didn't really get any further development on either one of those two feuds in this.
I definitely agree that one of those would have definitely boosted the match a little, but I didn't want all of them because you don't want to go into like Russo territory with the run-ins.
Well, bro, like, I mean, sometimes the Crash TV is what makes wrestling fun, bro, you know? Like, and sometimes you got to do that.
To me, there have been so many Money in the Bank ladder matches in the past 20 years among WrestleManias and Money in the Bank pay-per-views and even, you know, Raws and SmackDowns where they've had an occasional Money in the Bank ladder match. To me at this point, and they've all kind of just molded into one. So to me, a good Money in the Bank match is I want solid spots and I just want the winner to be good. If you want an example of a bad Money in the Bank ladder match, the year that Austin Theory won. You want another example? The one that Brock Lesnar won. Those are the qualities that dictate whether I enjoy a Money in the Bank ladder match. And, you know, this one very much delivered. I'm going to match the 4 stars. It was a great way to kick off the show.
Yes.
And yeah, it was a very good match.
Very, very, very good match. But, I mean, this is a Triple H booked show. I mean, you said that it was very, very tightly paced. We only got like an hour and a half worth of wrestling in a 3-hour show. Maybe some of these matches could have gone longer, but who knows? Maybe they cut out some of the video packages that they get along the way. But with that said, I mean
this one was. The women's and the men's match were 16 minutes, so I think that was plenty of time to get all the spots in.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need a half-hour-long Money in the Bank ladder match. There's only so many spots you could do in a ladder match before it becomes redundant.
Then maybe add one more match to this card. Maybe add one more. I don't know. But
I actually think this card was tight and solid enough that it didn't need... If it would have had that extra match, I would have been like... It would have been forgettable. It would have been a buffer match. I don't think there's anything... Like, imagine if they saved DIY versus Waller in Theory for this show. Like,
I would have loved that.
DIY's title win
I would have loved that.
Probably, I think the title win would have been brushed under the rug. But no, they got the center spotlight on SmackDown, and I think it worked out better here.
Yeah, they had a direct callback to when they actually won the NXT Tag Team titles from FTR in that same building. It was the exact same finish, which I thought was really cool. Congratulations to DIY, my boys. But up next... Speaking of titles, this is a polarizing match, huh? What do we got next, Tomas?
Bron Breakker is challenging Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship.
Damn right he is. I told you he was going to.
and feuding with Chad Gable since WrestleMania. Zayn said, I feel bad for the Alpha Academy, but Otis and Maxine and Tozawa, they're going to realize that they need to leave Gable, and it's time for Zayn to move on. Immediately confronted by Bron Breakker. And if you haven't seen what Bron Breakker's been doing on TV, he has been an absolute menace. He is like, I don't want to call him he's a big crybaby, but since he came to Raw, he was absolutely furious he wasn't booked in King of the Ring. So he said, okay, Adam Pearce, if you're not going to notice me, I'm going to make you notice me. He's been interfering in matches. He absolutely annihilated Ricochet. Like, damn near destroyed him out of the WWE. And
annihilated him so much that he turned him into Prince Puma, apparently. There was a vignette on Collision, I guess, that aired, and people are assuming that it's Prince Puma. But that remains to be seen. Best of luck to Trevor Mann and whatever his next endeavor is. But Bron Breakker...
Breakker has been just on an absolute tear. He's been calling his shot, and he called out Sami Zayn, face to face, and said, I want the Intercontinental title. Sami Zayn, being the valiant champion that he is like, anytime, any place. There was a small roadblock with Sheamus and Ilya Dragon. Ludwig Kaiser, which, probably would have played a bigger factor in this, but unfortunately, Kaiser, I think, broke his ribs, and he's going to be out for a few weeks of action, so they pivoted to the one-on-one match, which I thought would be very interesting that they're going straight into the one-on-one. A triple threat with Sheamus would have been awesome, but I do want to keep the story a little focused on Breakker and Zayn. And basically, the story here is Breakker's like, I'm an absolute monster, and you have absolutely no chance of beating me if you step in the ring with me. And Zayn's like, fucking bring it. I beat Gunta at WrestleMania. I ain't scared of your bitch ass.
Yeah, so Sami Zayn is billed as the underdog from the underground. Even though he's the champion, even though he beat Gunther, he is still presented as an underdog. And Sami Zayn is wrestling every match with a chip on his shoulder because of the nickname. Bron Breakker, if you're not familiar with his work, and you're just starting to see how freaking amazing this guy is and what a specimen he is, I'm glad you're starting to come around. Stupid name aside, I think he is the future of this business. This guy is a freaking machine. He runs the ropes at 23 miles per hour, which is ridiculous. His 40-mile...
his size.
Yeah, his 40-yard dash time is either equal to or better than Tyreek Hill, who is an insanely fast little wide receiver for the Miami Dolphins. So that's insane. Insane stat.
Let me tell you now, if you thought Breakker was impressive at NXT, this dude has stepped up his game since coming to Monday Night Raw. Like, he's adopted his uncle's finisher in the his uncle and his father's finisher in the Frankensteiner. This dude is stupid athletic.
Yeah.
This dude is sprinting around the ring and spearing people out of their boots. I got to agree with Breakker, best spear in the business. And if you don't agree with that, and if that makes you angry, well, he's working you, brother.
Yeah,
understands the business.
I was getting I was just about to say, like uncle, like nephew. I'm not seeing so much of his father, but Scott was always the more athletic of the Steiner brothers, I thought. And he's hitting his uncle's finisher, the Frankensteiner, and his swagger that he had reminded me of the dying days of WCW when Scott Steiner was holding the big gold belt. Like, I always thought, honestly, if your last name was Steiner, if you were a part of the Steiner lineage, that you were always a better heel. And I'm more convinced that Bron Breakker is a much better heel than he is a babyface. He's a freaking badass. Freaking badass.
I also want to say this. Here's something on this podcast I never thought I'd say. I think Scott Steiner is pretty underrated, actually. If you look at his WWE run, you know what? He was probably pissed off. He was
overexposed.
Off the way he was booked. He was overexposed, so he worked like shit. If you look at his work in WCW as a part of the Steiner brothers, do not forget that both Scott and Rick are both collegiate style wrestlers that, wrestled in college and have, NCAA titles to their name. Wrestling is in the Steiner bloodline. So Bron Breakker has just fit like a fucking glove. And this was a very intriguing match. When the match started, I actually said, oh shit, I should have put a timer on here because Bron Breakker might steamroll through Sami Zayn in 5 minutes. And I apologize. I apologize for making that statement because I don't understand the booking mindset when it comes to Sami Zayn, because Sami Zayn is a 20-year veteran, and it doesn't matter that Bron Breakker's this unstoppable monster. In kayfabe and in real life, Breakker's still the rookie. So Breakker is more prone to mistakes. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what I like the story here. Zayn was just looking to capitalize on that one mistake Breakker would make, and that's how this match ended up happening. One mistake made by Breakker cost him the whole thing.
The story is basically Sami trying to calm the young man down. He's basically he's like, oh, this is a big Steiner-flavored tornado who's running through the mid-card. Let me see if I can do anything about it. It's really athletic contest here. I honestly don't know if this was my favorite Zayn match in the reign so far. It was certainly very good. I don't know if I liked it more than the Gable match, but it's Bron Breakker's first pay-per-view match, if you will. So I'm not expecting like a 4-star level match at this point, but he did about as best as he could with his opportunity.
Story also very much felt like Sami Zayn being like, I just need to survive the onslaught, survive the offense from Bron Breakker until he tires himself out and he makes that one mistake. Zayn took a fucking beating in this match.
Can we talk about the camera work a little bit? Like, this just goes to show fuck Kevin Dunn, and that he was holding WWE back from being such a cool presentation. Sami Zayn is at ringside over by where the announce tables are. Bron Breakker gets out on the opposite side, and then he runs all the way around. The camera almost has like a bird's eye point of view look at Bron Breakker sprinting as fast as he can. He did that on an episode of Raw, and he absolutely bulldozed Sami Zayn in that instance. Sami Zayn has learned this time. So Bron Breakker runs around, goes for the charge. Sami Zayn does a leapfrog, and Bron Breakker's not an idiot. He doesn't just like bonk into the ring steps and start selling it. He actually stops in his tracks. Brilliant. Really cool.
Yeah.
Really, really cool spot.
Great, continuity from, again, it just shows if you watch Monday Night Raw, you're going to notice these things. The first time, he nailed it. The second time, Zayn got out of the way and he ran into the steel steps. The third time, Breakker, he's not a meathead. He's smart. He knows what he's doing.
So the finish of this match honestly was paced in a very bizarre fashion, because Bron Breakker was dominating a good portion of this. Sami Zayn just eats a lariat from Bron Breakker. Sami Zayn counters, escapes a press slam. He hits the exploder, goes for the haluva kick. Bron Breakker counters with that Busaiku knee, as you like to call it. Breakker with a
press. When Danielson used
no, it's a running knee though. It's the same move. Bron Breakker hits a press power slam. He goes for the spear just like he's Roman Reigns or Edge or Goldberg, whoever you want to compare him to. I
really hate to say it, but he really puts those guys to shame with his spear.
He does. Sami Zayn then just gives Breakker one kick in the head. He just catches him with it, and then say it, Tomas. What happened?
He hit the haluva kick, and that was one hell of a kick.
Son of a bitch. And he pinned him. Didn't he? Bron Breakker was pinned clean as a whistle. This was such a bold, courageous decision to make, because Bron Breakker debuted when? like February on the main roster. Yeah, and he's
he had a short stint on SmackDown, and then he was drafted to Raw, and he was full steam ahead after that.
He's been portrayed as such an unstoppable monster. I thought, like, looking at this lineup, I was like, you gotta have a title change somewhere in here. Like, I was expecting a title change in this match, but
I agreed probably until the week before when I realized the fact that they put this match at Money in the Bank just feels like, I don't want to say it was rushed. I just felt like there was more for this story to breathe, because I didn't like the idea of, okay, well, Breakker has nothing to do. We want to put the Intercontinental title on him. Let's just do it right away. I would like to see the story breathe a little more. I wasn't expecting a straight up clean finish. I was expecting more of a
clean in the middle.
John Cena, like a John Cena Umaga finish from New Year's Revolution 2007, where Cena just caught Umaga real quick with the roll up and survived Umaga. But, I wasn't expecting this, but this does open the realm of what Breakker can do to get another match and win the title at SummerSlam. My idea that I pitched was on Monday Night Raw tomorrow night, just out of nowhere, Breakker's just going to be seen dragging Sami Zayn's lifeless body in the backstage area. And I want him to threaten to do something horrible to Zayn, like throw him off a balcony, Big Show 2004 style. And Adam Pearce is begging for mercy. And Breakker says, unless you want me to paralyze your Intercontinental Champion, give me another title shot. And Pearce is going to have no choice but to do it.
Yeah. No, I saw some people pitching a fatal four-way, inserting Sheamus and maybe even Ilya Dragunov into the mix, but I don't know. The story seems to be Zayn and Breakker. I don't think this is the only match they're going to have, but I thought it was very good for what it was at 3.5 stars.
Here's the thing. I'm going to disagree with that, and I'm going to say Breakker can win the title from Zayn at SummerSlam. They can do an Ilya Dragunov match at Bash in Berlin. They can do a Sheamus match at Bad Blood, or vice versa. There are more opportunities to let these stories grow and put Breakker on an absolute tear for the rest of the year once he wins his Intercontinental title. I don't want to see all these players just thrown into one match and then, go from there. Even though they kind of did that with, like, Roman Reigns, LA Knight, AJ Styles, Randy Orton at the Royal Rumble. Like, there's spots where you can do that, but here, I would love Breakker to say, I ran through Sami Zayn. I destroyed Ilya Dragunov in Berlin. I destroyed Sheamus at Bad Blood. And, build a resume for himself, because that's what Breakker needs now he's on the main roster, a resume. He already has Ricochet as a victim. Zayn's going to be a victim. Throw Dragon. It's going to be an impressive list of victims he has, kind of like a different style of a Gunta run. I don't want Braun Breakker to hold the title for 2 years. Don't get me don't mistake me.
No, you got to do something different.
Healthy 6, 7, 8 month reign where he just a who's who. Like he needs to have a hit list. And then there's gonna be that one courageous babyface. Maybe Dragunov comes back. I would love to see Dragunov. Dragunov is another giant killer. And maybe he's being the one to beat Breakker. But I'm getting way ahead of myself. We got to get that title on Breakker first. I did like the call here because it keeps Sami Zayn very strong. Sami Zayn beat Gunta at WrestleMania. I don't want to see the title run end just like 3 months in. Either give him a long title run or it needs to happen at a big show like SummerSlam.
Yeah, but then again, you're probably going to have a multitude of different title changes at SummerSlam. I'd like to spread out these title changes and not just lump them all into one show, if that's okay by you. But yeah, I thought it was a good match for what it was, 3.5 stars. It wasn't Zayn's best match as the Intercontinental Champion, but yeah, it was still pretty good.
Yes, it was a good match. I enjoyed it a lot. I enjoyed the story.
Yeah, but are you ready for a surprise? You ready for a surprise from us? We have
2 surprises actually.
Trish Stratus. Stratus.
Canada's own Trish Stratus, who made an appearance at the beginning of the show, came back out again. It's nice to see Trish Stratus has calmed down since last year and she's not a bitch anymore.
Right,
terrorizing Becky Lynch for almost a year. She's calmed down. She's back to being mother.
Thank you, Trish.
Canada's mother.
Thank you, Trish.
Thank you, Trish. Yeah, and she even said you're welcome in her promo, which I thought was great. It's cool that we got Trish Stratus for one last run last year. It's cool to see stuff like that. But Trish Stratus, the surprise, was here to introduce another surprise in John Cena. And let me tell you guys right now.
Wait. She introduced John Cena and they played music and I didn't see anybody come out.
I hate you. Shut up.
I'm coping with comedy here.
John Cena, it does not matter how many times he shows up. I'm always so very surprised. But when he came out this time, I noticed there was something different, and I took a look at his gear, and the first thing I noticed is the last time is now. And I'm like, shit, it's happening.
Written all over the rally towel. And sure enough, he's wearing like a 2011 Cena Fruity Pebble red shirt, which says John Cena Farewell Tour all over it. But then I saw the year, 2025. That's next year. We're in 2024 right now. Cena runs down to the ring like he usually does. He tells Stu, let's tell him what's up. And he gets on the...
Can I say right now, Cena looked very good. I know he's been making fun of his bald spot. I know he kind of like, not saying Cena's still in tremendous shape, but you know, the age was starting to show. But right here, right now, he looked good.
Yeah.
Like he looked like Cena from like 2014, 2015.
Yeah, it's going to be strange seeing him next to Randy Orton during this retirement tour, and Randy Orton's going to make him look like a cruiserweight during their inevitable match. But with that said, John Cena does indeed get on the horn, and he announces his retirement from WWE. And the crowd immediately is like, no, don't retire. If he did this like 10 years ago, the crowd would have like cheered like nobody else. My, how times have changed. And he basically puts over that WWE is the hottest ticket in town. He has seen it at the peak of popularity, but also at its lowest popularity. And he's been very fortunate that the Toronto fans especially have been as loyal to the WWE as they were. And that's why he wanted to come here and make this announcement at Money in the Bank, of all places, because it equals opportunity. He's opening the door for opportunity to the entire WWE roster. He announces that 2025 is going to be his final year as an active competitor. He mentioned during the media scrum that he had upwards of about 30 to 40 dates left before he closes up shop. But he mentioned that the 2025 Royal Rumble in Indianapolis would be his final Royal Rumble. The Elimination Chamber 2025 would be his last one. And WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas would be the last Mania he ever performs at. Let me just say right now, it will be my honor to be there. If I wasn't convinced before, if I was of the mindset when I saw Las Vegas was announced, I'm like, yeah, that's cool, but I'm going to have rent to pay. You know, I don't think I can shill out all that money. If I was of that mindset and I saw this announcement, Tomas, this is what would have convinced me to go. Right there.
Yeah.
Like, I have to be there. I have to.
I got to say this now, too. Say what you want about his match in LA against Austin Theory, but if you were there like we were, I say what you want. Say what you want about it, but if you were there like we were, there was just this certain nostalgic magic in the air. I will always recall, you know, I got there, I purchased Cena's new shirt, or no, I saw Cena's new shirt and I knew I was going to get
This one.
Yeah. I was in the bathroom right before the show started. I ran into a fellow Cena fan and we exchanged casualties. And I told him, like, damn, I'm so like excited to see John Cena. And he goes, yeah, man, like we've been watching him since we were little kids. And just like, you know, he's gotten a lot of hate over the years, but there's this sudden, like, he just activates our inner childhood. Just seeing him wrestle. So that just like was a very warm memory for me. And now knowing that Cena's going to hang it up, like my innocence just felt like it was ripped out of my chest because I've been watching him ever since I was 8 years old. One of my fondest memories ever in life was my grandparents taking me to a Best Buy in Sacramento to meet John Cena. And I got an autograph and I got to chat with him and I took a photo with him. And just knowing the memories I have of seeing him live, seeing him on TV, seeing him in movies, has just been like, you know, I just felt like my innocence was ripped out of my chest when he said that. And even though we've been used to part-time Cena since like 2018, 2019, we always knew he would
somewhere around there. Yeah.
But knowing now, considering nowadays when you look at like Sting's retirement, wrestlers are now very much respecting the idea of retirement. And knowing how John Cena's motto for the past 15, 20 years has been hustle, loyalty, and mainly respect, you know well, when Cena leaves those jorts and those pennies in the ring, he's never going to come back to the ring.
He means
and
it.
That is just like a gut punch.
Yeah.
So, being said, he also cleared the air in Scrum after the show, and he answered a ton of questions. He said he's going to wrestle throughout all of 2025, and this is what I want to see. You know, when Kurt Angle did this during his run, I want this to be Cena's run on steroids. I want Cena to be on multiple Raws and multiple SmackDowns, and I want him to wrestle everybody. I want him to wrestle Gable. I want him to wrestle Hayes. I want to see him wrestle Nakamura. I want to see him wrestle Breaker. I want to see him wrestle Dragunov. I want to see him wrestle everybody.
Priest, Balor,
Waller.
One more.
Priest,
I have a list.
One Gargano.
I like. Oh, frick, man. Yeah, that'd be surreal to see, wouldn't it? One more Rollins match I would like to see. Maybe one more Reigns match. I don't know. Let's see. One more CM Punk match, certainly. Like, yes. I would love that. Cena versus McIntyre, I think, would be a lot of fun. That would be a really fun feud. Cena versus...
You know, it's funny that you bring up McIntyre, too, because I think during Kurt Angle's run, considering how limited Angle was, that was the best TV match he ever had with McIntyre.
Cena versus LA Knight in a friendly feud because they were teaming together last year. Cena versus...
Cena finish up business with Solo Sikoa. He never got his win back from him.
Cena versus Styles one more time. Yes. I would love, and honestly, like, this list is all well and good. Cena's final opponent should be Cody Rhodes. Because if you want to pass the torch to the next John Cena, like, literally and figuratively, that's who it should be. And I don't want to see it at WrestleMania. I actually want to wait until end of his run, November, December 2025, to have that match, so that when Cody eventually does pin Cena, then the torch has been literally passed. Here are the keys to the kingdom.
I also want to say this. This is 100% the fan in me speaking. This is 100% the child in me speaking. I want to see Cena win the title one more time.
I forgot to mention that part, and I also forgot to mention one more Orton match. I know everybody was sick of the Cena Orton feud, but on Cena's retirement tour, there has to be an Orton match in there somewhere. One last time. So
yes, I 100% agree. You know, thinking about Cena and thinking about the current direction of the company, him winning the title one more time is probably not going to happen. But just for me, I would just love it if Cena won the title one more time. He broke Flair's record and just, you know, cemented himself, just in case he wasn't already immortal. Just to cement his legacy forever. Again, that's just the fan of me speaking.
Yes.
Now saying it out loud, I do not think that's going to happen. But, you know, one can hope.
Never say never.
Our good buddy Greg taught me one thing after listening for over the years, and it's been, you know, sometimes when you watch wrestling, throw logic out the window, throw booking out the window.
Bingo.
If you want somebody to win, you want somebody to win. And that's my thing. I know it doesn't make sense, but I don't care. The fan in me is saying I want to see Cena with the World Championship one more.
Yeah. They honestly, like, with all this fantasy booking and with all this talk about legacy out of the way, WWE has a real opportunity to put together the most special type of farewell for any of their superstars in history. Probably the most special one since Ric Flair. Because I'll be honest, I was very disappointed in Kurt Angle's farewell tour, like, in retrospect, because he's one of my favorites of all time. Flair, and honestly, here's the difference between Cena and Flair, though. When you hear Cena say that he's done, you know that Cena means it. What do you think happened when Ric Flair retired against Shawn Michaels? He was in TNA. He was wrestling Hulk Hogan 2 years later, and it wasn't very good. And he immediately dishonored his own retirement. Like, John Cena will stick to his guns here. I have no doubt about it.
I don't think you have to worry about Cena losing clean to Theory again at a pay-per-view, and that's going to be his whimper off. This is not. And, you know, Kurt Angle has recalled the story. He said that everybody in the back was saying, no, Angle needs to face Cena in his last match. And Vince McMahon just would not budge on Baron Corbin. And Baron Corbin has gone on record to say, I feel bad. He feels like he tarnished Angle's retirement. And you know what, Baron Corbin? You didn't. It wasn't your fault.
It wasn't his fault at all. Yeah. No. Yeah. Vince was just having him be a scapegoat, fuck Vince for that. But John Cena, again, he's going to go the Sting route in AEW this past year. He's going to go through all these opponents. I can only hope that this farewell tour is everything that he wants, and I hope it's everything that the fans want. And I can't wait to see where it goes.
I think this needs to be an even split of him going over and him putting other people over as well. Because, this is just an example. He wrestles Carmelo Hayes. Either way, Carmelo Hayes gets a huge rub. Because, you know, they compared Hayes to Cena when he first arrived at NXT. So that would be poetic justice.
He's from Boston.
Priest, a Seth Rollins, a Balor. You know, you could go either way with a lot of these matches. But no matter what, whether Cena goes over or not, people he's going to be wrestling are going to get a huge rub.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. A Gunther match would be really freaking awesome as well.
Yeah.
Again, it's like John Cena versus Sheamus one more time. The possibilities are endless, guys. So I can't wait to see where it goes. It's going to be a bittersweet year as a John Cena fanboy, but it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun, and like I said, it'll be my honor to be there for his final WrestleMania. So
yeah, he's my fucking hero, and it's time. Yeah. Oh my God. Like, I'm getting choked up just thinking about it.
Me too. I got choked up when the crowd was chanting "Thank you, Cena," and you could hear that Cena in his promo started to get choked up. He was very moved by that. He had his new wife sitting front row, blew a kiss at her during his entrance. I was like, this is what it's all about right here. This is what it's all about. But up next, what we have, speaking of world titles, we were on that topic. Damian Priest is defending against the returning Seth freaking Rollins. The first time we've seen Seth since WrestleMania, when he was working with a torn meniscus and a whole bunch of other shit wrong with his leg. The freaking hero of Mania, Cody Rhodes' Shield, is back to reclaim what was once his. This is billed as a last chance match, which basically means that if Seth Rollins loses, he can no longer challenge for this big gold belt as long as Damian Priest holds it. But the interesting stipulation that was added here is that if Seth Rollins regains the championship, Damian Priest must leave the Judgment Day. So it got a lot of people, including myself, thinking, is this the end? Is this it? Is Damian Priest going to walk away, and are we going to get him and Finn Balor at the next pay-per-view? Because I know that's what they're building towards. Priest and Balor is all but confirmed. Down the line.
They're starting to show the cracks in the armor because Finn Balor and Priest have been getting into it backstage. There's been this whole topic of, does Priest need the Judgment Day? Does the Judgment Day need Priest? Since Rhea Ripley has been injured, there's just been this internal chaos within the Judgment Day. Rhea Ripley really is the glue that holds that group together.
Yeah.
But let me go on record to say, even though it did add a lot of layers to the story, this is one of the most overused and unnecessary wrestling tropes of all time. I cannot stand the if you lose, you never get a title shot, because it kind of just puts the writing on the wall.
Last chance match.
It's been a lot of debate of who should go over in this match. People have gone back and forth, including me and Zach, of who should go over this. But the build itself has been interesting because before they even introduced that stipulation, Seth Rollins made his big return. He wanted to win back the world championship, and Priest just comes out and says, I'm going to stop you right there. You don't even have to win Money in the Bank. I'll give you a title shot, which is very honorable of a champion. Very rarely do you see champions handing out title shots like that.
A heel champion.
Yeah.
Yeah, a heel champion, mind you. Damian Priest is on the precipices of a Big Dave-style babyface turn once he leaves the Judgment Day eventually. But, yeah, again, unlike a heel champion to do, is to go out there and be honorable and be upfront and transparent and say, I want to defend this title against you, because last time we wrestled for this title, you beat me. It was Seth Rollins' very first title defense when he won this belt last year after Night of Champions was against Priest. So these guys,
also, I say, it's very unlike this. Damian Priest is probably the only heel in history to be like, I have this big faction behind me and I am insisting they do not get involved. Look at the Bloodline. Look at Imperium. Look at, Legado del Fantasma. Look at all these heel groups we've had in WWE over the past decade or so. It has
Undisputed.
Been Undisputed Era. It's been their motive. It's been their go-to that they always got involved in these matches. And Priest is the one guy to be like, not only does he want it, he actively scolds the Judgment Day every time they get involved in his business.
Yeah, no, it was just, honestly, Priest, again, layers in this character. I also should note that nobody had any freaking idea that Seth Rollins was returning on that Fallout episode of Raw from Clash of the Castle, because that's how they opened the show. There was no indication that Seth was coming back. There was no indication that he was cleared to compete. He just showed up. That's how you do a surprise return. And honestly, it immediately got a lot of buzz for this match because Seth is coming back right after Mania. He's going after the world title. And these two do have really good chemistry together, and they've had really great matches in the past. It started off really hot. Damian Priest attempts a South of Heaven chokeslam. Rollins also immediately attempts a pedigree. Both of them escape. It's almost like it's a chess match. It's a stalemate at the start of it, which I thought was really good. Damian Priest is showing up. Damian Priest is absolutely showing up.
of McIntyre and Rollins from WrestleMania, which we understand now that that match was very tweaked because Rollins was injured. But I do love, every now and then, like with that McIntyre Rollins match, I do love the hitting the finisher out of the gate just to scare the shit out of us.
Right.
And that happened.
Yeah, it absolutely did. Another added layer to this, we mentioned it earlier, Drew McIntyre had just won the Money in the Bank briefcase, and immediately both guys were hitting moves on each other. Damian Priest hits, he hits the broken arrow on Seth, for example, and then he looks up the entrance ramp to make sure Drew McIntyre doesn't come out. Seth Rollins then hits a suicide dive on Damian Priest. Rollins is in the ring all by his lonesome, and he's like, "Come on, Drew! I know you're back there!"
I much prefer this approach to this kind of thing as opposed to, remember SummerSlam 2018 where Braun Strowman just stood on the stage the entire time?
Yep.
Threatening to cash in. And then he didn't end up cashing in because he got, I don't know, a wastebasket thrown at him. It was so fucking stupid.
Dumb.
It was a desperate attempt to keep the match interesting because after they had that fucking dumpster fire of a match at WrestleMania, Vince was like, "Whoa, I want to have Reigns and Lesnar 5 more times, so I got to make it interesting somehow." Like, this was such a better approach to this concept, and I loved it so much. Rollins and Priest also had this great sequence where, they use similar moves. So Rollins goes for a Falcon Arrow. Priest tries to turn it into a broken arrow, and then Rollins turns it back into a Falcon Arrow.
He did the deed.
That was really cool.
He did the deed. But the Falcon Arrow is the biggest issue of this match because everybody's been talking about it all over social media. Rollins goes for the pinfall after the Falcon Arrow, and the referee stops his count at 2, even though Priest did not kick out. Priest was supposed to kick out. A lot of people have theorized that nobody hit the button to hit Drew McIntyre's music, spoiler alert, but shit happens. And
Priest looked very embarrassed. Apparently he turned to the referee and was like, "I'm so fucking sorry, man. I fucked that up." And it's like, Priest, you're good, man.
It happens.
Meet that guy. I want to meet Damian Priest.
Me too. Priest seems like such
a cat to hit the town with.
He seems like he seems like a guy you just want to go to the bar with and shoot the shit for an hour. Like, yeah. I'm sure he has stories out the wazoo from the independent scene. Yeah. But these guys they're hitting their biggest hits. Rollins with the frog splash. Damian Priest goes for the south side of heaven. Seth Rollins does hit a curb stomp, which is a really nice near fall. I'm so pissed off that Michael Cole just calls it the stomp. Just call it the curb stomp. It's such a cooler name. But
now look, I get it, I guess, because if you guys know what an actual curb stomp is, it's really fucking, it's very morbid.
It's brutal.
It's very morbid.
Yeah. Anybody ever watch American History X? That'll show you what a curb stomp is.
And I get it because even though WWE is really leaning more towards the edgy side as they prepare to go to Netflix, at the end of the day, it's still a publicly traded company, and
fair
children
enough.
still watch professional wrestling. If a 10-year-old Googles a curb stomp because they want to see, imagine a little kid on YouTube searching up curb stomp compilation wanting to watch some Seth Rollins matches, and then they find some shit on YouTube. It's like, oh my god.
They should. Well, that's the fault of the parents. They got to put a parental lock if that's what they're doing.
I get what you mean, but it's just like it's just one of those. Fuck it. I would rather them change the name of the move than go back to Rollins using the Revelation knee or that shitty ass reverse DDT he used.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, the curb stomp
was a very dark time for Seth Rollins.
The pedigree was his finisher then, but he, I remember the ripcord knee. That was dumb. And then he brought back the curb stomp, and everybody was so fucking happy, including myself, because that's such a cool move.
I recorded that moment, and I still have it on my phone.
Oh, really?
I captioned it on Snapchat and said, "All is right in the world."
There you go. Damian Priest also does hit a Razor's Edge at this point. The only thing missing was Damian Priest stealing Cody's move, but that's beside the point.
The lights.
The Reckoning. The Reckoning.
Hit the lights was a better move name.
Anyway.
In the great words of Damian Priest's theme song, all rise for the rock star.
Honestly, that's on my playlist now. It's a fun theme song. I like it.
It's
So
a fun theme song. And
anyway,
you're gonna sit there and tell me that Damian Priest isn't up in the booth going, all rise for the punishment.
Could you imagine Damian Priest in a recording studio with the World Heavyweight Championship?
Hell yeah, I could. He's a rock star. He's a resident rock star on Monday Night Raw.
Could you imagine Drew McIntyre at Mindy's Bakery with the World Heavyweight Championship?
Easy. No, because he can't hold it for longer than 5 minutes.
No, and he can't hold a Money in the Bank contract for 5 minutes, which gets into the polarizing aspect of this card. Drew McIntyre's theme song eventually does hit after that Falcon Arrow botch. He's cashing in the contract right now. He promised us he was going to tonight. He calls for a Claymore.
And let me tell you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Here's the thing. He goes in, he catches it, and makes it a triple threat match. And I'm pretty sure Seth Rollins' life was flashing before his eyes because
it was a ghost of his past.
In the greatest Money in the Bank cash-in of all time, Seth Rollins cashed in at WrestleMania 31 to make Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar a triple threat match. And he ended up winning the title there in the heist of the century. And this whole sequence was a huge tribute to that because I swear, blow for blow, this was damn near identical to the Reigns-Lesnar-Rollins match.
Fitting enough, because this Money in the Bank's vignettes were all like incredible style vignettes. It almost looked like Pixar animated it. It was dubbed as the heist of the decade, which is a really cool name, a really cool tagline. Drew gets in there. He calls for a Claymore. He hits the Claymore on Damian Priest, but before he can pin him, like the key to this is Drew's performance. Like he thinks that CM Punk is out of the picture. He thinks that CM Punk is gone, never to be seen again. He took care of business himself after Clash at the Castle. So that's why he was so smug walking down there with the briefcase, because he was so confident that Punk was not going to fuck him again. Lo and behold,
you might as well call CM Punk Bruce Willis because he will not die. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. This guy keeps coming back and coming back and coming back, and Punk did it again. Here's what I love about this.
Yes.
Punk called his fucking spot. He didn't just rush in there and stop McIntyre from cashing in the briefcase. He said, no, let that motherfucker cash in. I'm going to make sure not only he does not win this title, that he does not have an opportunity to do something like this again. And
well, because
in kayfabe, it made McIntyre look like the biggest dope in the world.
Yeah, which is the point, because also CM Punk is the mastermind of this whole situation, because in this case, with Drew walking down the aisleway, he's even more dastardly because he's giving Drew some hope. So that's why I liked this so much. I know a lot of people are on socials and they're saying, this was a waste of the Money in the Bank contract this year. Oh no, Drew McIntyre was made to look like a I don't care. This is a great story.
Your Monster impression? Because that was pretty good.
Oh, wow. What did Monster hate this?
Oh, no. Monster. That's how Monster makes fun of fans.
Oh, yeah. No, I wasn't like, like props and shout out to Monster. I wasn't trying to copy him, but like, yeah.
No. I was like, was that your impression of him? Because that was pretty good. Like, I was great, like making fun of fans. Like, oh no.
I was just mocking.
The AEW fans are mad again.
I was just mocking the toxic fans out here who are like, oh yeah, no, this is a waste of the contract. Here's why I don't think it's a waste. At least Drew McIntyre didn't cash in on Sami Zayn. Then it would have been a waste. After Michael Cole, after all this time, was like specifying this contract is good for a world title match. A world title. The last I checked, the IC title is not the world title. All right?
Yeah, but here's the thing. When Triple H first came in charge, he was left with a lot of Vince's doo-doo to clean up. And he had theory with the briefcase. So he had to he salvaged it the best way he could. But I 100% agree. The Money in the Bank contract should be cashed in on a world champion. And I'm glad that's going to be the thing going from now on. Like, here's the thing that I loved so much about this. And it just adds even more layers on top of this story. CM Punk is keeping his promise. And he said, as long as I am breathing, I will make sure Drew McIntyre never wins the World Heavyweight Championship. And after he embarrassed Punk in his hometown and took his bracelet, CM Punk is not just going to sit back and let this happen. But for a split second, I did think, this is where McIntyre is going to do it. This is where McIntyre is going to fucking do it. He's finally going to win the championship. just for Punk to do it again. And it
yes.
was great. Like, I don't know how much more angry McIntyre can get. Like,
yeah. Well, at the post show,
he's gonna fucking murder. He wants CM Punk's head on a fucking steak.
Yeah. So I'm gonna bury the lead here. Yeah, CM Punk hits Drew McIntyre with more steel chair shots than The Rock hit Mick Foley with at the Royal Rumble. Then he throws Drew back in the ring. He takes the World Heavyweight title belt after looking at it pretty longingly for a second, like CM Punk is wanting it. Then he gets on the apron. He nails Drew in the face with the championship. And then he gets on the announce table, and Michael Cole on commentary was awesome. He's like, Phil, what are you doing? And then Punk looks at him and he's like, my job! My job! Yeah. Awesome. I don't care. Damian Priest then lightning strikes twice, same exact way he won the title at WrestleMania, hits one South Side of Heaven chokeslam on Drew, and then he pins and wins to retain the championship. What chaos this was. Like, as a match, honestly, like, if I'm being objective, it's probably like 3 3/4 stars, just because that Falcon Arrow kick out botch was a little bit too glaring for me. But as a whole package with the cash in and CM Punk screwing Drew once again, this is 2 thumbs up. This is 2 thumbs way up. This was so much fun.
4 stars. I think this was my match of the night, just because
really
chaos was so justified.
All right.
So justified in this match. And
yeah.
And then on top of that, it's not over yet, because after the match, Punk is still sitting cross-legged on the announce table, and then Seth Rollins looks at him and says, like, what the fuck did you just do?
Yeah.
Like, you got involved in my business too. And, you know, I love that they're revisiting that feud, and Punk is just like, sorry, motherfucker, wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah.
Punk has tunnel vision, and it does not matter who gets in his way. It's about fucking over Drew McIntyre.
Yep. Michael Cole had a perfect adjective for Seth Rollins, and he described it as collateral damage. So Seth Rollins is piercing a hole through CM Punk, so much so that Corey Graves, Seth Rollins' really good friend in real life, has to hold him back from murdering Phil Brooks on the announce table. Like, yeah, I think there's a lot of layers here, a lot of moving pieces. So much so that I think it's possible there could be a 3-way between Seth, Drew, and Punk at SummerSlam, even though Punk and Drew has been the money match for all year so far. All year.
And I'm sticking to that, guns.
That's all I've wanted to see.
I say you save that shit for WrestleMania, whether there's a world title involved or not.
Yeah.
Like, these guys are like, I mean, this might be a very loose analogy, but the only thing I can come up with is they're Captain America, Bucky Barnes, and Iron Man, just beating the fucking shit out of each other.
Yeah, I would love that. I would love that too. I honestly,
I love this. This whole thing.
This was great. Drew McIntyre freaking loses it on the post-show panel. He looks into the camera and is yelling obscenities at CM Punk. Like, he's yelling, CM Punk, I know where you live. I know where your family lives. Wade Barrett has to restrain him. Adam Pearce is trying to get him off the set. Drew McIntyre actually accidentally elbows Adam Pearce in the mouth. It was just announced on social media today that in kayfabe, Drew McIntyre has not only been fined for his actions, but suspended indefinitely. I don't know what this means for SummerSlam, but
I think I know what this means. I think CM Punk gets on the microphone on Raw and he said, Adam Pearce, I am begging you, reinstate Drew McIntyre for one night only at SummerSlam. And then Pearce can, he can refuse to. He can say, Punk, you don't understand. He put his hands on me. He's been a menace. And Punk will say, okay, fine. If you won't sanction the match, he's going to show up anyway, and we're going to fight unsanctioned style.
That's where you get the unsanctioned stipulation. I actually really like that. I was thinking, like, way outside the box for stipulations, because with Bad Blood being announced in October, like, I know there's going to be a Hell in a Cell match on that card. No other feud other than Punk and Drew warrants that right now. So I think they fight unsanctioned. Maybe CM Punk beats him in the unsanctioned match, and then Drew ends the feud, pins CM Punk inside Satan's prison. Like, I don't know. I don't want to fantasy book too much because Uncle CM might get mad at me. But with that said, yeah, really, really solid package here. I really enjoyed it. But we're not done with the Money in the Bank contracts because we have another ladder match on tap, Tomas. Who do we got in this one?
It's the ladies' turn now. Ladies' turn now as Tiffany Stratton. I just wanted to say Tiffy time. Sue me. Goes up against Canada's favorite daughter, Chelsea Green. Oh my God, she was so fucking over tonight. And I I adore Chelsea Green with all my heart. I want to meet her too.
Please, meet her too. As long as you say her name right.
It's too hot for this shit, man.
Chelsea Green.
And how great was it that Samantha Irvin was on the call for this pay-per-view?
So
you could say the iconic ring entrance. You have last year's winner, Io Sky. The rookie of the year, in my opinion, of Lyra Valkyria. She is amazing. Awesome. Everyone's best friend, Naomi, on SmackDown. And this is one instance I'm going to agree with you, Zach. And Zoey Stark, who I think is just there.
Yeah, it should have been Dakota Kai. Should have been Dakota Kai in this thing. But
agreed.
Yeah, after Dakota Kai was pouring her heart out on like a Twitch stream or something, like begging for an opportunity, then Zoey Stark just pins her in a nothing qualifying match on Raw. Like, I don't know, man. Maybe Triple H just didn't want 2 Damage Control members in this thing, and Io Sky is last year's Money in the Bank winner. So, this match started off really botchy. I'm going to be completely honest here. There were a lot of spots that were getting missed. But credit to these ladies. This is my match of the night. They did not give up, despite the botches and the missed spots, and they kept going. It's crazy I'm saying that, because I've had my fair share to say about Zoey Stark on this podcast. But she, in my opinion, had the spot of this match. It was, who was it? I don't even remember who gave her the sunset flip, but it was, it was Io. No, it was Io. It was Io, because Io gave her that really crazy sunset flip off the top of the high ladder. Zoey Stark, like, corpses up, and she's, like, done. Io Sky is folded over. Michael Cole is so worried about these ladies, and he was like, he summed it up best. He's like, I feel sick that I'm enjoying this.
Yeah.
You know,
my MVP of the night is, my MVP of the match is Naomi. She was doing some crazy stuff in this match, including the splits in between 2 ladders. She really is female Kofi Kingston.
Yep, she really is. Even though she's probably not going to get another title run at this rate, like Kofi Kingston is. But my opinion, MVP of this match was Chelsea Green. Honestly, everybody's pick was Tiffany Stratton going in. Tiffany Stratton was my pick going in. I wouldn't have minded if Chelsea Green won it, though, because
neither would I. But let me give a quick shout out to Lyra Valkyria. I call her the Rookie of the Year for the reason because she
was great too.
So goddamn impressive. She is just great, and I don't understand. If you have a beef with Lyra Valkyria, you have a beef with me. You hear that?
Yeah.
Leave my girl alone. I will not accept any Lyra Valkyria slander. I'm talking to you, Greg. I'm talking to you.
What, does Greg have a problem with Lyra?
He has a problem with her name, and I'm like,
what's wrong with her name?
I just think of Tyra Valkyrie. I'm like, Greg, I love you, man, but nobody is fucking talking about Tyra Valkyrie. Nobody.
No.
Nobody is talking about her.
God, like, Lyra Valkyria also is hitting Sky with a fisherman's driver onto a ladder. Again, nasty. Like, good freaking lord. This match was utter pandemonium, which is what I want a Money in the Bank ladder match to be, with all these crazy spots. Like, case in point, yeah, I'll probably never forget this match, even though it was, like, again, super botchy in the beginning, but the ladies eventually found their bearings. And if you were to sit here and argue that this is the most memorable women's Money in the Bank ladder match so far, it's a hard point to argue against. There haven't been that many, and there isn't, like, I don't even remember a lot of the spots last year, except for the ending when Io handcuffed Becky and Bayley together and climbed up over them.
You know how Tiffany Stratton has the prettiest moonsault ever? Well, she also has the scariest swanton ever, because I don't know what it is about this girl. And she is stiff as a board every time she does this move, and I'm always scared she's not going to make that full rotation.
Oh, man, yeah. So a more dangerous swanton than Jeff Hardy himself?
Oh, yeah. At least Jeff Hardy, like, loosens his body up, and he knows how to, like, connect that full rotation with a couple, like, a little tricks added. Like, you know how, like, he bends his neck back and he's still able to do it? That's because Jeff's been doing it for years and years and years. I know me complimenting Jeff is a rarity on this channel, but Tiffany Stratton, she's just as stiff as a board every time she does it. She, like, free falls off the top rope. And I get it. She's a gymnast, so she's probably doing proper form, but I don't want this girl to break her neck. Please. No. Oh, my God.
I don't either. The crowd was also chanting, "We want tables" in both ladder matches, even though they're ladder matches. They're not TLC matches. But anyway, Naomi goes under the ring. She pulls out 2 tables, and she actually pops for pulling out 2 tables along with the crowd, including the green shirt guy who was wearing a white shirt tonight for whatever reason.
That's illegal.
I know it is illegal, even though
if you want it to become invisible, that's how you do it. He changes the color of his shirt and stops wearing a hat.
Green shirt guy.
You brought up Chelsea Green, and I 100% agree. Tiffany Stratton was my pick, and I think she was the right way to go. But Chelsea Green is just so fucking entertaining that she was about to win, and I was like, I'm okay with this. And I get it. She was in Canada. She was super over, but she was over before that.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. She's over either way.
Fucking hard. Mm-hmm. Also, it is very important to bring up that my friend that was at the pay-per-view party with me, for some reason, she just started hating Tiffany Stratton, and she just started saying, I hate Tiffy Time. I'm like, what did she do to you? Don't talk about Tiffy Time like that.
I will not accept Tiffany Stratton slander on this channel in any shape or form. She's the future. So,
because it's Tiffy Time.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, the crowd was chanting Tiffy Time. Yeah, just like you wish every day was Rusev Day. So Chelsea Green, the gimmick that she was going through is that she has a deathly fear of heights. Like, she cannot stand climbing ladders. She cannot stand looking down from a far distance, down into the abyss, if you will, into the Chris Park. But
how crazy is that? I see what you did there. But how crazy is it that Chelsea Green shares the same? She is scared of heights, just like R-Truth is afraid of spiders.
Yeah, afraid of spiders. She's also afraid of heights like William Regal is afraid of heights. We're going to get to that ladder match eventually, and William Regal pulls off the same gimmick, and it's very funny, but the difference here is he actually believes that Chelsea Green had a shot to do this. You know, like, she actually was overcoming her fear of heights to get to the contract. It would have been such an endearing and sweet moment. But we didn't get it, and I'm totally fine with it. I would have been fine with either winner, honestly. So,
okay. If Tiffany Stratton wasn't in this match, I probably would have been a little more angry with Chelsea Green not going over.
The finish is, by the way, Stratton and Green develop a temporary alliance, and they set up the tables on the outside of the ring. More to come on the table spot. Io Sky. So let's see. I'm looking for the finish here. Okay, so Zoey Stark power bombs Lyra off a ladder onto a bridge. It was a Michinoku driver that Zoey Stark took from Io Sky, which is even more scary, especially off the top of a ladder. Holy hell. Like,
was it Chelsea Green or Io Sky that took the nasty table spot?
It was Chelsea Green, but Chelsea dropped Naomi with a kill switch on a ladder. No.
I'm not letting you pull that joke here. The name of Chelsea Green's finisher is the greatest name in professional wrestling. You ready for this? The Unpretty Her.
Get it? Get it?
Get it?
Unpretty Her? Yep.
Come on. Here, hey. Christian Cage, I know you're an evil prick, but even you got to crack a smile at that.
Oh, yeah.
It's
a great pun.
If you understand the backstory of the Unprettier and the Kill Switch, it's that Christian Cage changed the name of the Unprettier to the Kill Switch because he never got to name his own finisher. Back in the Attitude Era, when he started using that move, he made a joke backstage to Edge and the Hardy Boys saying like, oh, it's such an unpretty move. It's so unprettier. And I guess Vince caught wind of that and said, that's the name of your finisher now.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
And Vince always hated Christian Cage, so of course he took that away from him.
Yeah, but it's the Kill Switch. It's the same move.
Unpretty her.
This is going to be fun.
Unpretty.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, she hits the kill switch on Naomi. Chelsea Green climbs the ladder. Tiffany Stratton is right next to her temporary alliance member, and then she shoves Chelsea Green. She shoves the ladder over, and Chelsea Green takes a really pretty and devastating like a bump on the it was so graceful. She takes a bump through those tables. It was so clean. Tiffany Stratton is left all alone, and the crowd is chanting for her to grab the briefcase. And sure enough, as a lot of people predicted, your new Miss Money in the Bank, Tiffany Stratton, as Sam Irvin would say. So there you go.
A couple of things I want to say before we talk about Tiffany Stratton. First of all, I love Chelsea Green, but if you're one of the, I don't want to gatekeep here. If you just think Chelsea Green is another pretty face and she's just like this, she's a gimmick on WWE television, let me educate you a little and say Chelsea Green used to wrestle men in Lucha Underground. Chelsea Green used to do death matches with her husband, Matt Cardona, on the indies. Chelsea Green is a fucking warrior, and she knows this business inside and out. So
she's a badass.
A table spot like that is another day in the park for her.
Yeah, she's a badass, man. Yeah, and I think this was a, if nothing else, I'm sure a lot of people predicted Tiffany Stratton, but this was a big coming out party for Chelsea Green, and I really hope that she gets pushed a little bit more. This is
when it comes to Tiffany Stratton, though, this was definitely the right call. She has been on the up and comings ever since she got called up to the main roster. This is a perfect stepping stone for her. I've seen a lot of people saying this is a perfect opportunity to compromise the relationship with Nia Jax. Here's my pitch for this. I hate to say this, Zach, but I think Nia Jax is winning the title at SummerSlam.
I'm expecting it. I'm not gonna like it, but yeah.
Tiffany Stratton needs to just become white on rice with Nia Jax, be her best friend, become like, this, an alliance with her, and kind of gain her trust to the point where she knows she's not going to cash in Money in the Bank on Nia Jax, but she 100% is, and this is how you get Tiffany Stratton as a babyface.
It could be how you get Tiffany Stratton as a babyface. I would like her to have a healthy, run with the briefcase, because honestly, once Tiffany actually gets a custom Money in the Bank briefcase, it's going to be pink, it's going to be bedazzled, it's going to have Barbie print written all over it. Those things are going to sell like nothing else, like no other Money in the Bank replica briefcase ever has. Because that'll put money in her pockets. It'll show Hunter that she is incredibly over.
A draw.
She's
a draw too.
It'll show that she's the future. Absolutely. And
thankfully, we are gone from the Vince stage where Vince cared more about being a draw than being over. But you know, I think being a draw is definitely going to be a plus. It's definitely going to be, it's not going to hurt Tiffany Stratton whatsoever. I'm sure Triple H is like, oh yeah, the fans love you, that's why I'm pushing you. But then when Endeavor sees those dollar signs, they'll be like, oh yeah, Tiffany Stratton gets the stamp of approval from us too.
So I'm gonna call my shot real quick. Tiffany is probably gonna cash in on Nia Jax around Royal Rumble Elimination Chamber time on the road to WrestleMania, which is very key because the road to WrestleMania has these very unpredictable dips and valleys
and turns.
Yep, Tiffany is going to beat Nia Jax for the title, and she's going to go into WrestleMania as the champion to defend it against Charlotte Flair. That's what I'm thinking.
Here's the thing, and I like that mindset because, unfortunately, Tiffany Stratton kind of has to go babyface because you look at SmackDown,
which is fine.
Nia Jax is done with Bayley.
That's fine.
Is going to be credible enough to take this title off of Nia Jax. The only two I can think of is Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, which definitely could be obstacles in Jax's way, and they could be opponents for Jax to defeat. But we all know
over the fall,
Cargill,
over the fall,
and Cargill are in a collision course to WrestleMania. So I'm glad the usual players are going to be out. And, people are going to be like, Charlotte Flair. No, this is a passing of the torch moment. And I do think Charlotte Flair would put Tiffany Stratton over.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's a match that Tiffany has wanted ever since she became a wrestler, ever since, Charlotte Flair was her inspiration for wanting to become a pro wrestler. So give her that match at WrestleMania. Austin Theory versus John Cena style. That's what I want. So we'll see.
You scared the shit out of me when you said Theory and Cena because I'm like, give them more than 10 minutes and don't have to be so one-sided.
No. Think about it, though. Austin Theory got that match with John Cena. Why? Because John Cena was Austin Theory's idol. John Cena was the reason Austin Theory got into the business at a very young age. He was at WrestleMania 27 when John Cena was in the main event. I feel very bad for Austin Theory being in attendance for that piece of shit, but that was the whole reason why that match happened. Same reason why Tiffany versus Charlotte should happen. So, I'm calling my shot here.
Agree. So this was very fun. I'm going to give this match, damn it, I feel like other than the IC title match, I've given every match on this card 4 stars.
I'm going 4 1/4, actually. This was my match of the night. I thought the women put so much effort into this thing. Go ahead.
I think I need to rewatch the latter matches because, like I said, my 100% of my focus was not on these matches. So I think this pay-per-view definitely warrants a rewatch. But no, this was very, very, very good.
Yeah, the reason why I have this ranked higher than the men's match is that the men's match was fairly straightforward. You had spot after spot. You didn't have you had potential for interference. You didn't get it. And I'm thinking that Money in the Bank is all centered around chaos and not just big spots. This match felt a lot more chaotic to me. So That's why I'm picking this as my match of the night. I think it's one of the better women's Money in the Bank matches we've gotten. And Michael Cole and Corey Graves did so much as give this match a standing ovation, putting it over as one of the greatest ladder matches of all time. I don't know if I can go that far yet, because the match is only a day old. So,
and I will say, like, again, just like the men's match, look at the flavor of variety in this match. You have up-and-coming rookies like Lyra, Valkyria.
Yep.
You have established veterans and former winners like Io Sky. You have established veterans like Naomi in this match. This match has like a little bit of everything. And again, I feel it's crazy because I feel like, we're on opposite sides of the spectrum. I'm defending Zoey Stark, and you never liked her. I'm the one sitting here saying, like, Zoey Stark was kind of just there. But she showed up for the match, and she put in some impressive spots.
She took that Michinoku driver, so I can't say that Zoey Stark didn't belong. No. This was, like, ironically enough, half of the field in this match was also in that NXT Women's Title ladder match when I was in the building at Stand and Deliver. So it was really cool to kind of see that full circle moment for Zoey, Stratton, and Lyra. I can't sit here and bash Zoey Stark's performance when she took that nasty bump from Io Sky. I cannot. No,
absolutely not.
I'm a fair man. I'm a fair man.
I just wish there were more opportunities like this for Zoey Stark to shine.
Yeah.
Because I see it. I see it in her. I really do. Like, I see the potential in Zoey Stark, but I just feel like her booking has been very flat, and she has not really shown anything to make me believe, even though I've been a very, very hard defender of Zoey Stark ever since she got called up to the main roster. Like, we're in Bizarre World right now. We're both we're agreeing and disagreeing on something. It's usually the other way around.
There you go. Which I think, Dakota Kai should have 100% been in this match. Like, I'm not like the people who are a part of Dakota Kai's like hardcore fans. Like, I am with you guys. I really wish that she could have been in this. There could have been some really interesting story arcs between her and Io. But yeah, Zoey Stark just felt like another person in there. You're absolutely right. So, with that in mind, with 2 ladder matches out of the way, your world title out of the way, what the heck could you possibly close this show with? A 6-man tag team match, playa. It's the undisputed WWE Champion, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, my dude. He's teaming up with Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. Mad props to Kevin Owens, by the way, because his mom is fighting a life-threatening illness, and his mom would have been pissed off at him if Kevin missed a show just for her. I was with Kevin Owens. He looked utterly focused, even though this is a very repetitive match for him. Feels like he's been fighting the Bloodline his entire career at this point. I just want him to get
cut. A fiery promo on SmackDown saying, "I've been fighting the Bloodline for 4 years. It's time to finally end this."
I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it.
Kevin Owens. I'm with you.
Well, at least he's not in the learning tree vortex like some people are. Samoa Joe, come back. Like, I'm begging you, Joe. So you have
Kevin
those
Owens
guys.
In AEW, he'd be part of the learning tree.
Yeah, he would, and Jericho would still be putting people on the list. But yeah,
and Kevin Steen would just be at Jericho's side going, I used to be his best friend. Remember that? I would like to give Kevin Owens a little more credit than that. He'd find a little more interesting dialogue, but thank God we don't live in the universe where Kevin Owens is in AEW.
Yeah, thank God. Remember when people wanted that at the end of 2021? To your point, they are going up against a Bloodline 2.0. This team consists of the new tribal chief, Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, who's a very solid hand. You have you have Camacho at ringside, by the way. I can't forget him. It's Camacho, same guy.
You better watch your mouth or I'm going to take this part of the segment away from you.
No, don't take it away from me. But the new enforcer of the Bloodline is the Samoan werewolf, Jacob Fatu. As someone who has seen Jacob Fatu wrestle on the independent circuit in the Bay Area, he is also a Sacramento boy, if I'm not mistaken. Seeing the way he works in the ring, seeing like a lot of videos of him on social media of matches I hadn't seen him in, like seeing him in MLW, WWE, like they know what they have. Jacob Fatu is a monster. And the talent that this guy has, like, WWE ain't ready for it. And this was his main roster debut match, and it's in the main event of a PLE. That goes to show you that this guy's money.
The first time he shows up on TV, it's interfering in a main event SmackDown segment where he absolutely stiffs the fuck out of Randy Orton going through a barricade, and he puts the WWE champion through an announce table. in a
Yeah.
beautiful Samoan splash.
Yes.
Like, God damn, this guy has the strength and agility of Umaga. He has the ferocity of the Wild Samoans. This dude might be the total package when it comes to Samoan wrestlers.
And that is where we're going to get into some discussion here. I will also admit that the segments where the Bloodline acknowledgement ceremony, where Solo Sikoa had those like fancy red beads put around his neck, I don't remember the exact name of it. Someone I'm sure will correct me in the comments, but he gets the acknowledgement from Tama Tonga. He gets the acknowledgement from Jacob Fatu, who has an awesome theme song, by the way. He gets the acknowledgement from Camacho, but now he's wanting the acknowledgement. It's Camacho, though. He's asking for acknowledgement from the wise man, Paul Heyman, who looks so freaking sullen. He misses Roman Reigns so much, as I'm sure a lot of people do. He basically says, I acknowledge that you are not my tribal chief, and if you think that I'm gonna acknowledge you as my tribal chief, you can suck my fucking dick. He doesn't say that. He doesn't say that. Awesome. He doesn't say that. But yeah, so
SmackDown needs to go to Netflix too, so we can hear shit like that.
Could you imagine? So Paul Heyman in his mid-50s, he's not the most athletic man in the world, but mad props to him for taking a triple shield powerbomb through the announce table after he denounces acknowledging Solo Sikoa. What a beautiful segment that was. Every time I think, every time I think that the Bloodline storyline has jumped the shark, you get beautiful segments like that. And I'm just reinvigorated and just into it. But I still have issues with it now.
Two things. You know, people freaked the fuck out, including us, admittedly, when Paul Heyman said we're in the bottom of the third when it comes to this Bloodline angle. I think everybody overreacted because Paul Heyman did not say we're in the bottom of the third of Roman Reigns' title run. He said the Bloodline. That's an entirely different thing. I think everybody just freaked out because they were getting kind of tired of Roman Reigns as world champion.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
To everyone who's saying, oh, Paul Heyman's never took a bump before. Really?
Debatable.
Did you never watch 2003 when he
Debatable.
took F5 from Paul Heyman?
When he was in the...
Did you not watch
2004 even, when he was in the sharpshooter from Chris Benoit and John Cena made him eat a bar of soap on SmackDown?
When CM Punk beat the fuck out of him with the kendo stick at Night of Champions 2013?
Yeah. Paul Heyman could take bumps. Bumps, man. So, okay. So, Cody Rhodes starts out wrestling Tama Tonga, and Tama Tonga's a really solid hand. Like, you're going to get a good match out of him either way. He's taking a lot of the heat for this opening portion of the contest here. But then, once Randy Orton is in there with him, we get Jacob Fatu in a WWE ring for the first time, and immediately Orton hits his patented draping DDT on Fatu, and I immediately got a little scared because I'm like, you just made him out to be a geek right away. But thankfully, the draping DDT is hit. Randy Orton is vibing with the crowd, and right behind Randy, but right before he does his, like, you know, slithering like the snake he is, pounding the mat, Jacob Fatu no-sells the draping DDT. And I looked at him and I'm like, money. This guy is going to be a world champion in this company sooner or later.
Now, I agree, but let him simmer. Let him simmer.
Absolutely.
No need to put the world title on him right away.
Yeah, I'm just saying that, you know, Jacob Fatu is a much bigger draw than Solo Sikoa. But anyway, neither here nor there.
We'll get to it.
Yeah, so, yeah, Fatu looks like a freaking savage in there. Samoan drop on Randy. Randy's taking the heat here. Here comes Solo. And, you know, he's doing like the Roman Reigns thing where he's looking at the crowd. The crowd is chanting, fuck you, Solo, by the way, because they want Roman so badly. You'll get Roman.
Sikoa's got heat. I'll give him that.
In due time. In due time, you're going to get Roman. You just got to be patient. Randy Orton makes a quick hot tag to Kevin Owens, who is a House of Fire, obviously, crushing Tama Tonga in the corner with a cannonball. Fatu is breaking up pinfalls here, and then Kevin Owens starts taking the heat here. And this is where the match kind of starts to take a bit of a slow burn. And you're kind of sensing that this is, like, not necessarily a big pay-per-view main event. It felt to me like a huge main event for SmackDown. Like in Madison Square Garden, for example. But, like, just in terms of how the match was worked. It didn't feel as big as the Bloodline Civil War last year at Money in the Bank.
No, I understand that. And here's a few points I want to make. Number one, Kevin Owens really was the workhorse of this match because he took a lot of the heat. Number two, there's the thing about multi-man tag team matches on pay-per-view. You kind of have to have these long heat segments because you got to fill that time. It's not a TV match. And also, this whole match kind of came into fruition because it's basically Cody rallying the troops to finally take out the Bloodline.
Yeah.
So I totally understand that. Like, I get it. It's not. And, no. The other point I wanted to make actually was if Cody doesn't have a credible challenger for every pay-per-view, don't make him defend the title just for the sake of defending the title. That's why when we saw this face-off at Clash of the Castle, I was like, you know what? Put this shit on Money in the Bank. Have a good, like, story-building match going into SummerSlam, because I know a lot of people were saying, like, oh, just do Sikoa Cody at Money in the Bank. I'm like, you're kind of bum rushing it then. Like, there's something brewing coming at SummerSlam. So why don't we just stretch it out a little? We have this big war 6-man tag at Money in the Bank. Something big is going to happen at SummerSlam. That's all I'm going to say.
The irony of you saying that we shouldn't just have Cody on pay-per-view defending the title for the sake of him defending the title. We'll touch on that in a little bit. So Cody Rhodes, American Nightmare, of course, makes the hot tag. He's a house of fire, as he usually is. For some reason, Tonga eats an Oz cutter from him, and it's it's a great move when Cody does. Of course it's a Cody cutter. I just said that to screw with you. Disaster kick, obviously. Rhodes goes for a suicide dive on Fatu. Camacho pushes Fatu out of the way, and he eats the suicide dive instead. Fatu then tries to put Rhodes through the barricade, and, they're just fighting on the outside. All three babyfaces take Fatu out for the moment. So there's a spear on Rhodes. Rhodes kicks out. And then, of course, what do you need? A ref bump. It's not Cody's fault this time. So even still, even though it was the Bloodline's fault, Cody looks at the ref and he says, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
If only.
We got to finish this.
Holy shit.
We got to finish this. This is where my problem is. So Solo Sikoa is in there, and he is getting blasted by these baby faces by all of their big moves. Cody hits a couple of crossroads on him. Kevin Owens hits a frog splash. Randy Orton RKO's him. The referee is still down. Cody goes out there and he says, we got to finish this. We got to finish this. Kevin Owens then sets up the package pile driver gimmick that he does in the ring.
You know what? I want to say this right now. When I saw that, I know Owens changed it to the package powerbomb because of WWE. I think eventually they're going to let him hit the pile driver.
Yeah. Also Kevin Owens.
I loved that sequence where Cody hit the Owens hit the bullfrog splash, Cody hit the crossroads, and Orton hit an RKO on Sikoa, I think.
On Solo. Great.
That was like an awesome triple finisher.
I'll get into why I have a problem with that. So what happens? Owens also hit Jacob Fatu through the commentary desk with a splash off the barricade. That's a money match down the line. Owens and Fatu. Like, that would be awesome. Yeah. Especially with with a no DQ stipulation attached to it. That would be a lot of fun. Kevin Owens goes for the package pile driver. Camacho fucks up the Dick Kick City bit, and he low blows Kevin Owens eventually. Randy RKO's everybody. Solo gets back in, hits the Samoan Spike on Orton. Rosen hits 2 more crossroads on Solo, but then Jacob Fatu hits a beautiful looking whisper in the wind on Cody. He saves Solo. He holds Cody up. Solo puts the thumb into Cody's throat, the Samoan Spike. Solo Sikoa pins Cody Rhodes. Now, this is about the best you could have done if you're going to set up Solo and Cody at SummerSlam at this point. Point blank, yes. Solo pinning Cody, that's a very Vince McMahon move, by the way, to set up a title match down the line, have the champion be pinned. My issue with this, and I've been saying it for a little bit now, Solo Sikoa, except for beating John Cena at Crown Jewel, getting the pin at Backlash in the tag match, all Solo has been made out to do for at least a year is lose. Like, he is like the most... and I'm not saying this as a knock on Solo at all, because he is a great, he's a great up-and-coming talent. He really is. I'm glad he's getting this opportunity against Cody. It's not a SummerSlam match, though. It doesn't feel to me like it's a SummerSlam match, because, listen to me here, who in their right minds actually thinks that Solo has a chance in hell of beating Cody Rhodes? Raise your hand.
I mean, I'm going to say this now. Nobody thought Logan Paul was going to do it. Nobody thought AJ Styles was going to do it. So let me counteract your argument and just say right now, to a degree, I understand, but the way they're building up Sikoa on SmackDown in these Bloodline segments, the Bloodline issue with Cody Rhodes obviously isn't over, and you say it doesn't feel like a SummerSlam match.
It doesn't.
Well, what does? And I'm going to say this right now. I'm going to cut everybody off and say, Randy Orton. Guys, I don't want to see that rushed. If they put that on SummerSlam, it would just be the sake of putting it on SummerSlam. Let that story simmer. If we have not, I know some of us are still not used to Triple H's booking. Triple H is not a guy to put a big marquee match like that on the card right away with no build. He's going to want at least a few months of build, a little bit of subtle storytelling to lead into that. And we're getting that. We are. Orton is side-eyeing Cody. He's side-eyeing the title. It's going to happen. But I just think it would feel so rushed if, let's say tonight, the team still got the loss, but it's because Orton hit Cody with an RKO. Because after that, you're like, okay, then what does the Bloodline do? The Bloodline still needs to be built up as the biggest threat on SmackDown.
Yes.
Until, because we know Cody's going to win a SummerSlam.
Yep, that's my problem. That's my problem.
Roman Reigns comes back.
Yeah, Cody. This match for Cody. This is what you said. This just feels like a formality to get Cody Rhodes on SummerSlam and give him an opponent that he can beat. And, it's sad to say, but he's going to be overshadowed by the return of Roman Reigns. And that's what we're going to be talking about. We're not going to be talking a lot.
Cody got his big moment at WrestleMania. You could have not gotten a bigger moment at WrestleMania than what Cody received. If Cody has to take a backseat to Roman Reigns' return to SummerSlam, then so be it. There's a million pay-per-views, and there's going to be a million other opportunities. I think Cody, of all people, will understand, and he's just returning the favor to Roman Reigns after putting him over huge at WrestleMania.
Yeah, no, I get that. I get that. I don't want to make this sound like I don't like Solo, because I've had nothing but good things to say about him. I've compared him to a baby Umaga until Jacob Fatu came into the picture. Jacob Fatu is so much more like that Samoan bulldozer from 2006.
Jacob Fatu is like teenage Umaga.
No, that's Umaga's shoot son Zilla. But I mean, you kind of get where I'm going here. Cody Rhodes.
I understand, but I'm still defending the decision to go with Cody and Sikoa.
The WWE. I have higher standards for the WWE Championship match at the second biggest show of the year than just being a formality, than just having it be the setup for Roman Reigns' return. Because everybody and their grandmother probably knows that Roman Reigns is coming back in Cleveland. And to top that all off, you have Cody against Solo, who, like I said, other than beating John Cena to a pulp at Crown Jewel, really hasn't done much of note on the main roster. He hasn't been made to look like a believable challenger for your most prestigious prize in the business. If Cody were to go up against Randy Orton, that's Randy Orton. The resume speaks for itself. Randy Orton is a believable contender.
Let me counteract this right now and say Randy Orton has lost every single pay-per-view match since he's returned.
I get that.
So he does not have a legitimate claim. And I'm sorry, I don't want to hear the he's Randy Orton argument. Sorry, when you lose 7 straight pay-per-view matches in a row, you kind of lose that credibility.
So then why does
John Cena, ironically enough, just randomly came back and said he wanted to challenge Cody? But let's pretend he wasn't retiring. People could bring up the fact this motherfucker just said he hasn't won a singles match in 3 years.
Yeah.
If he's just going to pull the John Cena card. People had that issue with Brock Lesnar. Oh, he's going to pull the Brock Lesnar card.
Yeah.
Whenever he wants. I'm just saying, I think Randy Orton, being still a full-time competitor, still needs to earn his title shots. And I understand. I really do understand the Solo Sikoa argument. But for the sake of telling a story, I'm okay with this. And, I can recall a million other times where the WWE Championship has been quote-unquote disrespected by being put on a lower tier on SummerSlam. I get it. I know it's Triple H, but, I guess what I'm trying to say is sometimes you got to crack a few eggs to make an omelet.
Yeah.
I think the WWE Championship and Cody's reputation will survive this one SummerSlam.
Oh, it will. It will. I mean, I have no doubt that it will. But the main crux of my issue is that if you really wanted to, like, legitimately build up Solo as a believable contender that could, like, end the Cinderella run of Cody Rhodes, then, like, have him booked in this match to be unstoppable. Don't have Solo be the guy who's taking all of these finishers from these blokes. Don't have him be the guy who constantly has to be saved by Tama Tonga, by Jacob Fatu. Jacob Fatu, by comparison, looked like a much more worthy challenger. I'm sorry.
Well, if you're going to make that argument, we got to look at the past 4 years and see how much Roman Reigns has depended on the Usos and Solo Sikoa.
Right,
so,
right.
And you know what? This may work in the favor because when Roman Reigns comes back, the first they can do in SmackDown is confront Sikoa and say, like, look at you. You want to call yourself a tribal chief? You couldn't even get the fucking job done against Cody. You're a fucking poser.
You're pathetic.
It's going to work against Sikoa, too. It's going to work into that story, too.
I really hope so. Yeah, I mean, again, I'm just going to wrap it up with this. Like, some people might be wondering, well, Zach, what makes you want to believe that Solo could actually pull this off as a believable contender? How about actually have him win all of his matches? How about that? Because, like, other than John Cena, other than, like, losing to Cody Rhodes, the go-home show of WrestleMania 39, that's fine. Like, have that be his only loss, though. Don't have him on the house shows. I just saw Solo open a house show back in February. He lost to LA Knight in under 10 minutes. So.
Fair enough. I will understand that point completely. Anywho, the match, I will give 3 3/4 stars. I thought it was a solid enough 6-man with some fun spots in there. And it's definitely setting up the stage for SummerSlam. Hopefully in the weeks coming to SummerSlam, Cody and Sikoa can have some fun promos and some fun segments to make the match a little more exciting. But I think what's on the horizon is going to be really good. Also, by the way, it is confirmed that Drew McIntyre wishes Damian Priest will be defending the World Championship against Gunta at SummerSlam. They got the match graphic and everything. We don't have enough time
The King General.
We don't have enough time to go into the possibilities of that scenario, but SummerSlam is shaping up to be a really fun card. Overall, I'm going to give Money in the Bank an 8 out of 10. This was another home run by Triple H. And you know what? If you want to call me a WWE dick sucker, go ahead and call me a WWE dick sucker. I don't care. This is quality shit that we're getting right now. And this was a very fun, very solid pay-per-view. Probably one of the better pay-per-views throughout the year. They've all been good, but some have been better than others. Overall, I had a very fun time watching this show, and I'm very looking forward to SummerSlam in the beginning of August.
I'm going to go with an 8 out of 10 as well. I mean, I initially I was thinking 7 3/4, but I bumped it up mainly for the Cena segment and the Cena surprise. It gets me excited for the future. And also the chaos of the World Heavyweight title match. That was freaking dope. But this, I mean, like, that's about the same rating as I had last year's Money in the Bank in London. I feel like I hold that show in a little bit more higher regard than this one, mainly because of we're seeing the ramifications of it now. Damian Priest, who won the contract last year, is now the world champion, and he's going into SummerSlam to lose it to Gunther. I mean, defend it against Gunther. Io Sky, again, in the Money in the Bank ladder match again. She won last year. Bloodline Civil War was a much better story in that tag team main event last year than this one was, I thought. But overall, really solid stuff. Hit that subscribe button if you're new. Hit that thumbs up. We will be getting to Forbidden Door. Don't you worry if you notice that it's missing. We're going to get to it eventually. NXT Heatwave is also tonight. I'm going to be watching that at some point. When I got some time. But our next up in the retrospective is No Way Out 2006 as well. Look for that. We just uploaded Royal Rumble 06. That was a really fun podcast. Go check that out if you haven't already. Guys, again, thank you again so much, and commence that back talk. Take care, guys.